Hey everybody, it's Jenna. Happy Tuesday and welcome to our next installment of Let's Talk Tuesday. It's a little rainy here in South Jersey. It's been raining for about 3 days. So everything's kind of yucky and stinky and muddy and gross. But we still wanted to make sure we talk to you tonight for Let's Talk Tuesday. So tonight we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that's on our horses. It's something we get asked about all the time, especially from people here who visit the sanctuary. So we're calling tonight's edition Boots, Bells, and Helmets. So that'll make a little bit more sense as we get talking. Let me turn the camera around. And let me also say we have some work going on. We have some work going on in our aviary project, and we have some trucks here moving our manure pile, so it might be a little bit noisy. So, is Hawk gonna roll here maybe for us? Kind of looks like it, maybe. But we'll get started, and like I said, it's nasty out here. We haven't scooped yet because it's been raining all day, so don't mind the poo. The horses have been in for most of the day. I think this is their first time out. So we'll start with Holly. So here's Holly. She's our miniature horse. And as you can see, she has little booties on her front feet there. Hi Holly. So she wears the boots. Here's a close-up of them. And Cody actually has a pair of boots too. They both have a condition called laminitis, which is inflammation of the hoof wall. It has a couple causes. A couple underlying diseases can actually cause it. And we've done testing through our vet, and we haven't really been able to pin down the exact cause. So for them, unfortunately, it's something that they just kind of have to deal with on occasion. It can vary from mildly painful to very painful. Holly, be nice. So Holly has been going through a little episode the last 2 weeks or so. And we actually just ordered her the boots. They just came in last week. And they've been doing wonders for her. So we call them her little Air Nikes. And she seems to like them. She didn't really like them at first. Cody loves his. When we put his on, he's kind of trots around and thinks he's the cool guy with his boots on. So that's the boots. As I said, there's Cody. Cody doesn't have his on right now because his feet have been pretty good. But Holly actually, you can probably hear it now, jingling. She actually also has a little bell on her halter. And she wears that for Hawk. Hawk is blind. He actually doesn't have eyes. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But he gets very panicked when he can't, well, obviously he can't see, but if he doesn't sense that the other horses are around. So the bell is a little bit of reassurance for Hawk that, he's not alone out here in the field, and she is right there, and nothing's going to happen to him. So she does a really good job of being Hawk's eyes. She doesn't mind the bell at all. A couple people previously have asked about that. They said it kind of looks close to her ear. Does it bother her? And we don't think it does. Cody here, Mr. Cody, he actually used to wear the bell. He and Hawk were herd mates for about 15 years. They came to us together. So when we first got them, Cody wore the bell and he hated it. He got it off pretty much every time we put it on him. So he figured out really quickly how to get that thing off. So I think if it were really bothering her that much, she'd be getting it off too. But she doesn't seem to mind. She's a good girl. All right. Okay, so that takes care of the boots and the bell. Now we'll talk about the helmet. So here's Hawk. And like I said, he's blind. He actually has no eyes. He came to us, Holly, not nice. He came to us with a condition called, I gotta step in here, they're getting hungry. They get a little crazy at feeding time. So he came to us with a condition called Moon blindness, that's the kind of the common name for it. The medical term is, I believe, equine recurrent uveitis, which is basically a condition where the eyes are constantly inflamed and ulcerated and irritated, and it usually, well, in most cases it leads to blindness, complete blindness. So he came to us with that condition. He eventually did lose all his sight, but his eyes were still really, really bothering him. He was squinting a lot, which is a sign of pain. They were very watery. There was discharge. So we tried a couple different treatments under the direction of our vet, and nothing really seemed to help. So eventually she recommended that we take him to UPenn to be seen by their eye specialist, which we did. We did that back in November, and they said, let's take the eyes out. You know, he doesn't need them. They're causing him pain. When they did their exam, they actually discovered some cancer on one of his eyes. Excuse me, Cody. So we elected to get the eyes removed. He did fantastic. That night he came home and he was rolling in the grass. He was eating like a champ. And we could just tell that he immediately felt so much relief without those painful eyes. So he's been without eyes since November. And he gets around really well. His other senses have really kicked in. But he does still occasionally bump into things, especially going in for his dinner at night. We feed him in the barn because he's a very slow and gentle eater. So he eats in the barn in his stall so the others don't bother him, and he tends to bump into kind of the frame of the door on the barn when he goes in. So as you can see, he has this lovely helmet. It's really beat up. It doesn't last long. It's not meant to be worn all the time like he does. It's on mostly 24/7. If we're out here like for long stretches of time, we'll take it off and let his face breathe a little bit. But it's a very lightweight material, so it doesn't seem to bother him too much. And it does a good job of protecting him. As you can see, it's pretty beat up right now. We'll probably need to order a new one soon. But he actually, before we got the helmet, he cut his head open probably right after the new year. It was the middle of a snowstorm. We went out to feed in the morning, and he had a huge gash in his head. He had bumped into something. So he needed 9 stitches, I think it was. So after that, we said, okay, you know, we need to find something. So we found this company in Australia that makes these helmets. They're made actually for shipping horses that are being shipped or trailered, and also for horses that have just come out of anesthesia. So again, it's not the best solution just because it doesn't last. We actually met someone not too long ago who does product design, and she kind of took it upon herself to work with a friend of hers to see if they could come up with some kind of prototype for a better solution. So I think they're making good progress on that. So hopefully we'll be able to test that out soon and see if that does a better job of keeping our guy's head protected. But for now, he wears his helmet. We call it his Super Hawk mask, and he's just the best. He's the sweetest horse. He's amazing. So that is, I think, everything that I wanted to touch base with you guys on tonight. Hopefully that answered some of your questions about some of the stuff that's on our horses. And this is another reason, you know, your donations are so important. Hawk's mask costs about $250, and we have to order a new one about every 3 months or so. The boots are very expensive. They're about $200 a pair. And then there's all kinds of special inserts that can go in depending on the condition that the horse is suffering from. Cody, you're in the way. So all this, you know, extra stuff is what we have to do sometimes for some of the animals with special needs. So donations go to not only food and vet care, but also some of the special stuff that they require. So I think that's it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Please post questions, suggestions, anything that you might want to know, or anything that's on your mind. And we'll talk to you next week. Take care, guys.